What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here, and it's Top 10 Thursday. There's something so interesting about a good villain in video games. Someone who just seems to wake up, get ready for the day, brush their little bad guy mustache, and go out and be absolutely evil. These people are different from the characters that are, well, a little bit good at doing bad stuff, like Joel in The Last of Us, but overall are trying to be the hero. These guys are just so mischievous in every little thing they do, but you can't help but kind of love them for it. So this week, we're going to honor those. These are my picks of the top 10 most loved bad guys in gaming. Number 10. Handsome Jack. The Borderlands series in general is considered to be one of the funniest franchises ever made. It actually sets out to make a situation that's just so ridiculous and filled with such lighthearted humor, you can't help but laugh at even some of the darker moments. But nothing is better than Handsome Jack himself, a man who actually considers himself the main character. After all, he took over this planet, created society, and kinda kept the chaos at bay. But that doesn't mean that he's actually a good guy. In fact, he's quite downright evil in many aspects. Throughout his different phone calls to you, he likes to taunt you and drive you crazy in his own little way, and that's kind of part of his charm. You can't help but love a guy who seems to enjoy being so maniacal. Number 9. Albert Wesker. Within the Resident Evil community, there are a ton of diehard fans for this character because when you really think about it, he's the person who started a lot of the major events of this universe. He's the person who unleashed the early viruses, got himself infected, and became the super soldier he is today. But throughout all of his different adventures, it's really kind of the most interesting is watching him develop as a human because he's kind of a psychopath, but he has his own set of morals. He truly believes that giving all this power to Umbrella and taking over the world is for the best, to the point at which, when he's finally defeated and meets his inevitable demise, there is a huge set of gamers who are actually downright upset to see him die. And myself, I was actually really heartbroken because at the end of the day, I started to consider Wesker the main villain we deserved. Number 8. GLaDOS. It's not often that you find somebody who's so evil that people end up talking about them even after the game is done. In fact, people who have never even picked up Portal know exactly who GLaDOS is and know several of the things about her, like "the cake is the lie" and "I'm still alive." These memes have far surpassed the original community built around Portal and made her kind of an immortal person all on her own. Even now, a full decade after the initial project came out, people are still speculating about who GLaDOS was. Was she just a computer? Was she some sort of crazy program gone awry, or an actual human in some aspect who is trapped within this machine? That's the true glory of it, though, is that at the end of the day, she is somebody that motivates you to defeat her. It motivates you to beat these puzzles and find your own path to freedom, and for that, you gotta love her. Number 7. The Joker. Batman, the Caped Crusader, is somebody who's considered to be absolutely overpowered in many sense when it comes to the comic books, because he always has a solution to any problem, but something that just seems to stop him over and over again is the raw insanity of the Joker. This character, throughout his different iterations, has always found some way to just drive Batman to the brink of his own skills and mental sanity, but I really love his way of showing up within the Arkham games because every single version of him seems to have a different aspect of what makes the Joker great. He always has this master plan that's going on in the background, and as we see him grow and evolve, we kind of fall more in love with him because it seems like in some small way he may have a point. Perhaps madness is the correct answer. He really shines the brightest though in Arkham Knight, since he's basically just a ghost that's slowly haunting you, and seeing him do stuff like an extended song and dance number just to try and mock Batman is brilliant in the absolute best way. Number 6. Arthas. There's a quote I heard once that I feel like is very true, which is that the best villains make you understand why they went evil in the first place. And with Arthas, we get that. We are shown his entire story from a young boy trying to understand how to be royalty to his unfortunate downfall when he finds the Frostmourne. He is a person who sought power in order to defend his kingdom, his people, and his own honor. And in the end, it cost him everything. Having his soul taken and just basically stolen from his life of royalty, comfort, and trying to walk the path of light is such a fascinating tale, and it became such a huge crux of the World of Warcraft story. So we see him in Warcraft 3 and Warcraft 2, but truly, when it finally gets unveiled as the depths of his own cruelty, we understand that this is a person who started out so good and became so utterly bad. Number 5. Andrew Ryan. The world of BioShock and its twisted story is so believable in a way because it presents the evidence of its existence in such a straightforward manner. But at the center of this is the all-important Andrew Ryan, founder, creator, and designer of Rapture itself. He meant this to be a utopia where there would be no laws, no rules, and give the greatest geniuses of the planet all the resources they would need to create their own perfect little inventions. While this is great at first, it eventually leads to people splicing their own DNA, making themselves into twisted monsters, and you stumble upon it when everything is at the peak of chaos. Going into this town, killing the citizens, and eventually Andrew Ryan himself is so freaking moving because it's almost horrific. It's such a dark reflection of what would really happen in this situation. Andrew Ryan is such a madman in his own way, but you almost sort of understand where he's coming from. He just wanted to unlock the full potential of humanity. What he didn't realize is that the darkness within our hearts is what's going to always win. Number 4. Voss. There's always something uniquely fun about each of the different Far Cry games. They drop you into tropical paradises and try and just leave you to figure out your own way to handle each of the problems set before you. But when it comes to Far Cry 3 and Voss himself, you encounter basically an impassable barrier. This is a person who is truly crazy. He is a nutcase in every sense of the word, to the point at which sometimes he'll tell you that he's going to let your friends go and then immediately shoot them in the head. He is literally a psychopath in a textbook sense of the word. Something that I've always found the most interesting about this person, though, is that he was actually going to be quite different during early development. It was only when they began interviewing different voice actors to try and find a perfect person to fill this role that they discovered somebody who was just so good at playing nuts, he showed up to the interview dressed as what would become Voss, and just was such a weirdo about it, they realized that this is the perfect tone for the crazy they needed. Number 3. Pyramid Head. This creature is probably one of the most famous things ever from any horror franchise. He transcends past just the boundaries of Silent Hill to become a figure that instills absolute terror in anybody who lays sights on him. He's just such a creepy thing in general because when you look at it, it doesn't even make sense. How does it have a pyramid for its head? Can it think? Is this alive in the typical sense of the word, or is it just some sort of weird zombie or an epitaph? Is this a demon, a symbol that's just supposed to drive you crazy by even looking at it? That's what I love about Pyramid Head, is that he's so mysterious. Every single piece of him seems like it's just built out of nothing but nightmares and hatred. He exists because humanity is filled with the desire to kill and destroy. That is what he is, and as he wanders through the streets of this haunted town, you know that he's going to find a way to track you down and claim that blood. Number 2. Sephiroth. The entire Final Fantasy series is filled to the brim with absolutely amazing villains. From the retro ones like Garland or Kefka to the more modern adventures with evil guys like Arden, it's hard to pick just one, but I'm going with Sephiroth because I feel like he shows the widest range in what it means to be an awesome, lovable enemy. He starts off just seeming like some sort of minor bad guy who's wandering around the world doing bad stuff, but we slowly discover that he is truly a man trying to unwrap a world-destroying plan. He wants to summon Meteor and destroy our entire planet just to try and get a little bit more power. That is so ambitious, but at the same time, obviously, very, very crazy. That's why I love it though. Sephiroth has an awesome way of dressing, a creepy way of talking, and a super good soundtrack. He is a person who basically walks around jamming out to the most evil, awesome tunes ever. Every single part of this guy is charm, charisma, and absolutely twisted epicness. Number 1. Big Boss. The launch of Metal Gear Solid back on the PS1 was a groundbreaking event that left shockwaves throughout the entire gaming industry. It just had such an intricate, unique sense of writing by having these characters that were constantly having weird plot twists and even stranger motivations. But at the center of it all was Solid Snake, a person who lived in the shadow of his even more powerful and more dangerous father, Big Boss. When the third game came around, Metal Gear Solid 3, we at last got to fill his shoes. And this was insanely cool because suddenly we actually got to see the man behind the legend himself, seeing why he turned bad in the first place. At this point, we've had more games as Big Boss than even Solid Snake himself, making him sort of the main character of Metal Gear Solid in general. But throughout it all, we knew that eventually he is going to turn evil and go to the dark side, so to speak. Watching that journey though, his slow evolution from hero to dire villain is fantastic. It makes you not only love him, but respect his choices. And for that reason, I am awarding him my pick as the absolute most loved bad guy in all of gaming. Did your favorite true villain not make the list? Got an idea for a future top 10? Leave it in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. I am so excited for Last of Us 2. I've actually been playing through this game again, and it's still just such a masterpiece. Definitely in my top 3 favorite games of all time. Thank you to the people who suggested this video. Honestly, I completely got the idea from this from a fan. So whoever it is, I think it was a guy named Ultra Tiny Gamer. You are awesome. Thank you so much. Oh, hi. I'm just working on the next video. If you want to see what it is, go ahead and click this button and you can subscribe. Also, if you click these video links, you can see my latest review and my latest top 10. Now I'm just going to sit here for a minute and wait for you to subscribe. Oh, I guess I could put on these giant glasses. I literally found these on a roller coaster.